How long does it take you, or you, if you're working with someone brand new, how long does it take you to typically figure out their body?
Oh, it could be literally a couple of weeks, or it could be a couple of shows. I mean, there's major differences. Absolutely. There's no, I wish that I could say, hey, look, I'll learn your body in 2 weeks or your money back, but it doesn't work that way. It's not, it's very, very typical to take a show or two to really understand someone's body. I've gotten, I don't want to say lucky, but I've gotten to the point where I've had people who are very good listeners and they have a high amount of coachability. So what happens with those people is that I end up having success very early on because they are willing to execute at a very high level. So you tell them to eat shit, they'll ask you how many ounces, right? And those are the people you want. It's the ones that are really difficult are the ones that are your buddy that you work with that is basically doing some kind of diet and you're trying to help them for free and then they don't listen.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody like that. Those kinds of people. Those are the hard ones, you know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cheat meals. We talked a little bit about it so far, but cheat meals, what's your favorite? Not your personal, but an favorite to issue somebody, and when do you like to issue them?
So I like to issue cheat meals, and we're talking about prep, right?
Yeah, prep.
Yeah, so like if you're prepping for a contest or a photo shoot or whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
So what I do is when I decide somebody it looks really flat or they're starting to lose too much weight and we're adding in a cheat meal, I do two things. Number one, I started the strategy many, many years ago about putting a cheat meal in the day before your weakest body part. So if you're working on your chest and your chest just can't get 3D, it's one of those things where it doesn't get round and full. What I do is I focus on making sure that cheat meal goes in the night before that workout. So if you're training chest on Monday, then Sunday night you're getting the cheat meal, and that's where I implement that particular. I want to try to get that desired effect where the pump is going to go next level. You're getting extra macros. You're also getting micronutrients like the extra sodium that's going to help with the pump. And what I like to use is I'm a big sushi fan. I've been using sushi for many, many years because of the sodium and not just the carbohydrates, but the sodium. And unless you do a lot of fried stuff, which I don't like my athletes using a lot of fried foods because it really slows down digestion. It's fairly clean. So you're getting whether it's salmon or tuna or anything else. Now, if the guy just go off the deep end and doing a ton of fried stuff, then that's something I don't advocate. So I'm a huge advocate of trying to keep it clean at that point, and then also throwing in a dessert. So sushi and then some kind of dessert. If dessert-wise, we tend to go with cake or cookies or something like that. And again, nothing that's going to be super high in fat, moderate, low, after getting that high carb meal in.
I always curious about this. How do you know how many, like for sushi, how do you know how many rolls to give somebody? Like, are you just basing it on look? Or are you basing it on, like, you need to eat three sushi rolls tonight? Like, how do you gauge that?
Usually it's by look. It's by look, yeah. And most of my guys are bigger. So it's pretty standard. They can take down about 6 to 8 rolls, sets of rolls. But at the end of the day, what your stomach can fit. The thing you don't want to do is you don't want to end up being gluttonous to the point where you're stretching your stomach, and that's become a major problem. And that's a whole different episode in itself that we can discuss, because a lot of what people think has to do with actual stomach issues have a lot to do with actually the volume of food that they're eating as well. But so it's getting full, but it's not overdoing it. And most of the guys.
How do you judge fullness and flatness? So if someone says they're flat, is there points where you're like, no, you're not flat, just keep going? Or is there other?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. Like what happens is some people, again, what I call the fog of war, you don't really understand what your body's doing. And that's why a coach is an extra set of eyes to be able to get you through that fog of war. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that you don't go down the wrong road. Because you can go down the road of, hey, I'm trying to just kind of puss out, and I got to cut back my cardio, or I got to basically cut back my how hard I'm dieting. So I'm going to up my carbs and not tell my coach, or or whatever it is, because that happens all the time. And you're not doing yourself or your coach any service with that. So what you really look into is you look into saying, what are the actual telltale signs of flatness, right? Is the skin starting to get loose? Are the muscle bellies, like how long, how are they looking when you're getting your updated pics? What's happening with the actual pump in regards to the actual workout? So, how long does it take for somebody to get pumped? Are they even getting pumped? Are they losing strength? All of these things are telltale signs of what the body is doing. And sometimes you do have to kind of suffer a bit, because not every workout going through a prep is going to feel like $1 million. It's not going to feel like, hey man, I'm Superman. You're not going to get that all the time. And you just, sometimes it's literally having to suffer.
Yeah. And that's where the experience of a experienced coach comes in, because then they can guide you through that, as opposed to, I didn't feel that great in the gym, I need to have a sushi meal.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, unless you have a coach that's going through a breakup or something and he's pissed off and he just tells you 0 carbs for like the next 6 days and then send pictures in a week. I'm not saying I personally did that, but
I'm just speaking from experience.
I'm not speaking from experience. Yeah.
Here's a good one. Yeah. How do you know when an athlete is cheating on a diet?
Oh God, that's easy. That's the easiest thing ever, man. I mean, first of all, you don't get pictures.
Oh, my phone died. My camera's broken.
Yeah, all of a sudden the text messages don't come back. But normally when they think they look good, oh man, they're waiting for you to start texting. The little dots show up on the phone, like right away. They're waiting for your little dots to come back and say, thumbs up or good or wow or great. Most people wouldn't get that from me, because that's just, it takes a lot for wow me, but just because I'm always chasing perfection, but that's just my personality. If you really look at it, you get people avoidance. Number one, they're not going to send pictures. They're not going to send you pictures on time. There's going to be I think I'm holding water today, so this is what's going on. Oh, my weight is up 4 or 5 pounds, but I don't know why.
Do you give them a benefit of a doubt if it's the first time you've seen this? Or like when the first time you work with someone, they say, oh, my weight went up 4 pounds, I don't know why. Do you give them the benefit of the doubt first?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do that to a fault. Yeah. I always give everybody the benefit of the doubt, especially because for as many people I've coached through my years, and I've been doing this for over 25 years. What I realized is that I've had the luxury of dealing with people who do this for a living. So they're less likely to do it. And that doesn't mean that they're not going to do it. They're just less likely to do it. So I always give people the benefit of the doubt, especially if it's somebody in the beginning, when I'm trying to get to know them in terms of the personality and their body. Because the coachability of someone really dictates it's not just the information you're giving somebody, it's how they actually take that information and how they're going to digest it, and are they going to be able to do it. Because if for example, if I know somebody's not going to be able to go to an hour cardio, but they need an hour cardio, but I know they'll quit or not do it, then I'm going to have to go give them 35 minutes of cardio or 40 minutes of cardio. And I got to do smaller increments, because the digestibility of the information has to go that way, because what's more likely to happen is that they're going to quit. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to hold off on this prep or do this, that. And that was me coming up, again,